In the medieval world, power wasn't just a privilege, it was divine law. Kings ruled by the will of God, and to challenge them was to defy heaven itself. Their crowns weren't just forged from gold and jewels, but from faith, fear, and a whole lot of spectacle. And within that spectacle lay a dangerous truth: to stay powerful, a king had to be seen as untouchable, not just by sword, but by soul. Imagine this: you're a subject in a medieval court. The throne isn't just a chair, it's raised high on a platform, forcing you to crane your neck just to look up at your ruler. Ceremonies are meticulously designed so that no one, not for a single second, dares turn their back to the king. Every gesture, every word, every brutal punishment carried a heavy, unspoken meaning. This was a world where humiliation wasn't just a side effect of justice, it was a language of rule. From the icy courts of Northern Europe to the sun-drenched palaces of the Mediterranean, monarchs built elaborate rituals to display their dominance. Power in the Middle Ages was anything but subtle. It was displayed through shining armor, spilled blood, and raw fear. But what truly cemented a ruler's authority was something far more chilling: the ability to publicly break another human being, to strip away their dignity in front of a watching crowd. Medieval kings believed that to destroy a person as pride was to destroy rebellion before it could even begin. Chroniclers from the 12th and 13th centuries paint a vivid picture of this. They wrote about kings who staged punishments that were not just cruel, but deeply symbolic. Imagine a rebellious noble, once dripping in wealth, paraded through the capital in chains made of solid gold, a biting mockery of his former status. Or picture captured lords forced to kneel barefoot in the snow before the royal court, a stark reminder that even the highest born could be reduced to absolute nothingness. The punishment was never just about physical pain, it was about psychological conquest. The king's justice was a form of theatre, and the entire kingdom was the audience. Every act of degradation, every moment of shame, became a powerful warning broadcast to the masses. This is what happens when you defy the crown. In England, France, and the Holy Roman Empire, this spectacle of shame was central to royal ideology. It was so ingrained that even the church, which often condemned violence, participated in these displays. A fallen lord might be forced to walk barefoot through a grand cathedral, wearing only a thin, simple tunic, as the king watched imperiously from his throne. This public humiliation transformed justice into propaganda, visible, undeniable manifestation of divine order being restored. But what was the deeper purpose behind all this cruelty? It was all psychological. Medieval kings understood something that modern leaders still grapple with today. Authority only survives as long as people believe in it. To preserve that belief, they wielded shame as a weapon, sharper and more effective than any sword. In the medieval mind, to be publicly shamed was a fate far worse than death. It didn't just destroy your honor, it erased your very place in society, turning you into a ghost while you were still alive. Behind the glittering grandeur of the royal courts, this cold, cruel logic shaped everything from politics to diplomacy. A king's mercy was often an illusion, a carefully calculated performance designed to remind everyone of his absolute power to either forgive or utterly destroy. Even pardons were delivered as grand spectacles, showing that the ruler's grace was just as absolute as his wrath. It was during this era that the concept of majesty took on its modern meaning. It wasn't just about splendor and riches. It was about moral supremacy. Kings wore their majesty like a suit of armor, and to even question it was considered treason. Historians would later call this the mask of majesty, a facade that hid deep-seated insecurity, political fragility, and the constant fear of betrayal behind these brutal rituals of humiliation. So, when a monarch punished their enemies in public, they weren't just seeking vengeance. They were feeding the myth of their own divinity. By the 14th century, this obsession with spectacle reached its absolute peak. Royal processions became mobile stages for dominance, and executions were transformed into twisted moral lessons for the public. People gathered not just to see justice served, but to witness the raw performance of power itself. In those moments, the king was no longer just a man. He was an idea, an embodiment of order standing against the forces of chaos. Yet, beneath that powerful mask, one simple truth always remained. Kings were human. They feared betrayal just like anyone else. They envied their rivals and knew, deep down, that loyalty born from terror could vanish with a single whisper of rebellion. And so, they hid those fears behind the one thing they felt they could completely control: the public humiliation of others. When you look back, the age of divine kingship was, in its essence, an age of grand theatre. The thrones were the stages, the crowns were the props, and punishment cruel, public and utterly unforgettable was the dramatic performance that kept the entire kingdom watching, silent and obedient. It's a dark reminder that throughout history, power has always been as much about perception as it is about reality. Thanks for watching. If you found this glimpse into the medieval mind fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments what other historical topics you'd like us to explore next. See you in the next one.